people are familiar with the term domestic violence, but the word violence is so misleading that even survivors who are experiencing domestic abuse in a non-physical form aren't able to identify that they are experiencing that power and control dynamic because of the word violence, and then the violence is absent from the equation. And so to the point of awareness education, we can only work with so many people in our organizations. We can't cover the whole community. We need our communities to understand these issues. We need neighbors and family members and friends to understand how to identify it so they can help. So they can help connect someone who's in trouble with a resource that's specialized and that can help support them through the process, whether they are ready to do anything or they just are in a learning stage of what's happening and what can I do, or what are my rights, or what is okay, what is healthy, what's not. I mean, there's so many questions that need to be sorted through, right? So a lot of times people really gain so much ground from their support systems before they even get to the point of accessing services. And that's what we really need to do, is build up the knowledge and the awareness of our community so they can help one another and help them know where to go.
Yeah.
I think when you try to tell someone what to do, because your whole goal is they've had a loss of power, so you're trying to do everything you can to support them, to empower them with, you can make your own choices. You have a choice in this, and I think that's really vital.
When you talk about control, what are some of the ways that an abusive, or that a perpetrator, I guess is the better way to put it, what are some of the ways that a perpetrator might try to control the survivor?
Let's start with money, not having access to the bank account. I mean, it could even be as simple as the vehicle that the victim is allowed to drive, or is their vehicle is never more, the tank is never more full than maybe a quarter of a tank. Then they literally can't get far. They literally can't leave. So there are a lot of tactics when you think just financially alone to control someone that can keep someone trapped and isolated, further isolated.
We see isolation from friends and family, right, to make them really rely on just that other person in their relationship so they don't have those other close ties. That often happens as well.
I think a big one, too, is controlling their ability to reach out to others. So they might control their cell phone, the house phone, or, one thing that even for friends and family member too, to offer, hey, do you need to use my cell phone to call this service, because they might feel like they can't, because if they do, they're going to see that in whatever software they have on the phone that can see calls and things.
Yeah, tracking them through technology and that kind of thing. And like, in addition to removing them from any resource, family or friends, and the financial, but maybe sabotaging their job so that they don't have that, which leads into how do I afford rent and housing in this difficult housing market that we live in. There's a lot of factors to consider.
I think it all starts right here. It's in the mind. It starts with some form of mind control or manipulation, coercion, gaslighting, where they try to alter your reality. Your responses are not heard. They're turned and used against you. So I think that it starts there, and then once they can open the door, and it continues and can go into all forms of violence.
And that gets even worse when there are children involved, because now there's more leverage to diminish the victim's credibility. If they make one error, one misstep, or there's something to hold over their head, now there's the threat of custody of their children if they ever try to leave. And I've watched that just time and time again. It's such a powerful control tool in and of itself, but it all starts with convincing their partner that they aren't the credible parent. The court won't see them as competent, and because they're already starting to doubt their own reality, literally, that becomes more and more believable. So us on the outside, we might be able to see that's just simply not true. But that person hearing that over and over and over again, layer upon layer, comes to believe it wholeheartedly, and it's scary. It's really, it breeds more fear and more isolation, breeds more of that self-doubt. And so it's just this vicious cycle.
Yeah.
Go ahead.